Hey everyone, welcome to Rathe estimated value video. We've got a new setup here. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. I just want to make this a little bit better and a little bit more engaging and make the clarity a little bit more clear. Some people were complaining about not being able to see the numbers. So this is what we're going to try to do. So first off, thank you so much to my patrons who make all this stuff happen. Patrons at $3 tier, you get access to all of the data here as a spreadsheet collection tracker for each set. And then every week I update the pricing for you and send it to you, and you can just copy and paste the pricing into your collection tracker, and then you can track the value of your collection over time as it grows. And then also thank you to Mitch from the Midtown Merchant. Mitch and Andrew are helping out with some data. They're helping send their data over to me. So they've also given us a promo code JustLove10. That's a one-time use for 10% off. So thank you so much to Mitch and Andrew over at Midtown Merchant. It was so much fun doing the live stream. We had 113 people in on the live stream the other day. So that was a ton of fun. So just those two things. And then one other thing with the patron. Right now I'm just going to share all the data. It's just going to be the hard facts of what is on the market. All of my opinions I'm going to save for a podcast that's in the kind of like a monthly, kind of a couple weekly, it'll be weekly, sorry, at least weekly podcast that I share my opinions on what is happening on the market. I'm calling it If I Were to Invest, because I'm not currently investing in Flesh and Blood. I'm just collecting. So just my way of keeping this all facts and not opinions. So that's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start out with unlimited. And right now, an unlimited box is sitting at $135. This is still really high. We're going to see more hitting the market. But I would not purchase one at $135 if I wasn't super into this. I probably am not purchasing them. I'm getting them from my local shop at around $100. So, so I would not do that. But that is what they are selling for. I really thought this would tank harder. I think this will continue to drift downwards. Remember, I do not believe that that unlimited is an investable product. So the heart of Fandale is not too much growth here, right at -2%. There's a ton of availability on the market and lots of sales at that price. It's really finding its home here, about the same as last week. That is a 1 in 40 chance in the box. And then the legendaries is where we've seen a lot of growth here. Ignore these numbers that dip off for the next week. That's just in case that's when the bubble breaks, everybody. It's when the bubble breaks. Okay. Anyway, this camera is going to get me off track. So here we go. So we've got good growth, especially in these higher value ones. The spring tunic seems to be, people seem to really like that unlimited foil copy. And Brave Ford bracers, we had some growth too, but really the Mask of Momentum was the surprising one for me. And actually, this sold listing was at $225, but I found a couple that were less than $225, so that's why I left it at $215. So that's still drifting upwards, and then the tunic upwards as well. So these other two, the leathers and the plating, not much growth, but you can see this is going to keep on trajecting upwards, especially as these boxes stay at these prices. And as people open packs, eventually once the sealed product goes down, more boxes will be opened, and hopefully we'll see these kind of not get too pricey. But it's pretty cool to know that you can open that. And those are 1 in 4 chance of getting one of those legendaries in the boxes. So decent odds. So moving over to the Majestic rainbow foils, we had a little bit of downward pressure on the higher value one in the Enlightened Strike, just more people selling them. But other than that, everything stayed pretty much the same. Toma Fandale going up $8, so that's the big gainer. So that made up for Enlightened Strike dropping a little bit in value. And then to the non-foil Majestics, we lost some value this week. We had a huge growth last week, though. And so this is just one of those evening out things. As things kind of go up and down, you'll notice that, if something goes up, sometimes it usually goes down as the market swings. So people start realizing, I can get $55 for my Enlightened Strike. All of a sudden, more hit the market. So nothing to panic about there. Just a little retracement on those prices. And the super rare rainbow foils, we had a 17% growth. This is another evening of what happened last week. This is exactly what I was trying to say, was that we had a huge decrease last week. Lots were put on the market last week, and now they've been being purchased, so the value is going up. So Remembrance is really pushing that. Singing Steel Blade, a lot of the warrior cards you'll see are kind of going up as people learn that seems to be the one of the strongest decks. So really great growth there. We're going to see these lines kind of bounce up and down over time as more boxes hit the market and as boxes dry up. That's just the way that economics work. So non-foil super rares, really nothing happened, nothing of interest. This is wrong. But the really nothing of interest there. Everything seems to be staying the same. Really, you're shooting for a remembrance on the super rare. Everything else not really worth much. Rare rainbow foils. The only thing we've got is this energy potion. Still holds strong and lots of value. Other than that, everything's sitting at under $1. Not much value even in the rainbow foil rares. So you're looking for energy potion if you're opening packs. Potion of strength, time stamp potion 2. Those are all the potions are holding value. But energy potion seems to be drifting upward slightly. So that's what's pushing that 8% growth. The regular rares, you got nothing here. I mean, if you get those potions, you get a couple bucks, but your regular rare slot's not going to hold any value. So the rainbow foils, the only thing I ever mention is that these equipment that used to be cold foil are sitting at a couple bucks each. You got one here at $4. I'm going to change this to bold. But it's just so hard. The average price is still so low that I'm not really including them. And you can't really guarantee. I don't really feel like you're guaranteed one a box. So I'm not putting them in there. Let me know if you feel like I'm wrong. But if you are guaranteed, you can add like $3, $4, or $5 to the EV at the end if you want to pretend like it's guaranteed. Commons, there's nothing important there. So where does that bring us? We talked about the average pricing. Your average price of the Majestic foil was $33. Average price of the Majestic is $15. So let's get over to the calculation here. You guys all know this, but just in case you don't, you get 1/4 of a chance in a legendary, 1/40th a chance at the heart. And when I say this, I want you to keep in mind that when you see this value, it is not guaranteed that, right? Like $128 per box. That means that you're getting your chance at the heart and your chance at the legendary. If you're just opening one box, I would tell you to expect to get about $76 out of that box. Week to week, though, we are tracking the box EV, and we had around the same growth as last week. So again, as these products are drying up on the marketplace, and the sealed product stays high, you're going to see a drift high on the singles prices. So that's just the way the economics work. So that's what we got there. It's pretty great. I mean, you can pretty much if you're getting boxes from your local store and not online, and you can hit that kind of 80 to 100, it's worth it to open boxes, I think. If you can't, I would not purchase boxes for $140. I mean, think about it. At $140, you're not even making the average if you hit the legendary. So I mean, that is what it is. The box prices online are not where they should be, but it's just supply and demand. People can't get the product right now. So just look around locally, be patient. Anyway, let's move on to Alpha. So really what I'm going to say, if you watched the Arcane Rising video, it's a lot of the same here. We have some really cool information, actually, before I get there. I was going to talk about the rainbow foils. I always do that. All right, so the sealed boxes, we're sitting at $37.50, and this is something you want to keep in mind. There was a sale today for $39.50, but there's still plenty available on the market. I can't believe somebody bought this box for $39.50. It's like destroyed too. Anyway, it's not destroyed. It's still sealed. It's still whatever, but it's just not in good condition. If you didn't check it out, I opened a box of Alpha today for a patron and got hosed. So check out my latest video from today. Anyway, Alpha boxes, I would say more at $37.50 is really around the price. You could probably get them a little cheaper if you were patient, or maybe on the Facebook channel, but public offerings, that's where we're at. And we're seeing just great growth in these. I mean, this product is it's gonna be good. So The Heart, we also had a Heart sale last night, actually. The Heart of Fandale sold for $15,444.44, but it costs $9 to get shipped to you. So make sure you account that into your prices. So that is a 30% growth. You know, it's hard to get sales at these numbers. This one was, if you remember, this one had a little damage, so that may have been what was keeping that down a little bit. But $15,000 seems to be the going rate for a Heart right now. Pretty incredible, pretty amazing. That's 1 in 40 boxes, if you did not know. Legendaries, really not, hardly any legendaries were sold this week. Realistically, the $1,000 Braveforge bracers, which is right here, this was, I mean, that's a great deal, I think. Somebody got a great deal, and honestly, what I said about the legendaries yesterday in the Arcane Rising video too, it's really becoming whatever a buyer is willing to pay is like, they're saying basically the buyer has to meet a seller, and the buyers are really driving the market for those right now. So the tunic, you know, there were hardly any. What I'm trying to say is there was hardly any on the market until a buyer came around and said, "Hey, I'd like to pay this amount for the tunic," and that's what drives it up. So really not a ton of movement all in all. And actually, we had a downwards trend as we had a Mask of Momentum sold for about $1,500. The Braveforge bracers, you know, the tunic pushed it up, so it kind of kept it all even. But we had a huge, we had a huge growth last week. So this is again maybe a little bit of market retracement and keeping that price in line. I think honestly you're going to see these be really interesting to follow as it goes. I'm not going to share my opinions as much. I just want to keep to the facts. So I got to remind myself of that. Anyway, let's go to cold foils. On these cold foils, again, there were a decent number of these were sold, 143. I'm sorry I forgot to bold all this for you. I'm just going to do it as I go. There was a decent number of cold foils sold. We had a strapping sold at 150, a Helm of Eisen's Peak at 175. Lots of people, I think, are starting to get these as their collections and to have a piece of alpha foil or cold foil. But, you know, we also had this outlier here that just doesn't make sense based on the other market prices. This was an eBay sold. So keep that in mind. I think this is an outlier, and that price is pretty high based on the other market stuff. So that's going to drive this up 29%. I said a couple weeks ago I thought this was going to be the way that things went, as these were pretty low priced, and you know, collectors can get one. So that might be what's driving it up. I don't know, but keep that in mind that this is a very, very inflated price in my opinion. Majestic rainbow foils. So I said this last week here, and I said it in the ARC video too. Take all this stuff with a grain of salt, because there's hardly any data. Really, there was hardly any sold listings. There's hardly any available on the market. Really, there was no available on the market. That's what I'm saying. Is like, what happens about these is it takes a seller to come out and say, hey, I'd like to buy a Glintha Quicksilver. I'm willing to pay $250. And then maybe a seller, it takes a buyer to say that, and maybe a seller comes around. There's like none of these being offered at $250 by sellers. Really, for the seller end, they're offering these for like $800. And no one's buying them at $800 because that's not what the value is of them. So really, this is a market right now where the sellers have to find a buyer, and the buyer has to say, hey, this is what I want to pay for it. And a seller has to be like, okay, yeah, I don't want to hold on to it. But I think a lot of people are just holding on to them because they don't think it's worth selling at $200. But a buyer doesn't think it's worth buying at $800, and that's what's going on. We did have a confirmed sale of the Enlightened Strike, and the Tome of Fandale. There was a Tome of Fandale and something else, like maybe it was one of the other Majestic, anyway, that were available together for $2,000. So I kind of left that price there. Really no growth at all on these, as there's really none being sold on the market. There might be some stuff happening in private messages and things like that, but on Discord, on eBay, on the Facebook Marketplace, there's no open public information about that stuff. So I think these are pretty much the going rate. So I did talk to somebody about who sells a lot of them private message, and this seems to be, he didn't give me any specifics on cards, but this seems to be the going rate for a rainbow foil Majestic, is around $200, $150 to $250. So super rares, a lot of the exact same that I just said you need to apply to the super rares. There's just the rainbow foils, there's just not enough being sold. That's why I put all these in red. These were all basically sold listings from what I took last week, or Facebook listings or whatever that I took last week, and so there's just not enough. We did see the Cranial Crush and the Forge for War. That's why it's green. Those were sold this week at $60, so maybe those are going to be trending up. Again, take what I say with a grain of salt. Don't take it as word. Just keep in mind that these are the sold listings from this week, and then these, there was just no data for it this week. So Majestics, there was an Enlightened Strike. I'm going to actually change this live. There was an Enlightened Strike pack of 3 playset that was sold for $500, which puts it at $166 each. But more realistically, I'm going to put those kind of in the $200, $225 range if you were buying one singularly, which is what we're tracking. So I'm going to put that in the $225. We are doing a box tracking though, and somebody, this guy, did pull 2 Alpha Enlightened Strikes today in a box opening video. So it was an amazing box opening video. It was crazy, but it sucked. So go watch it and pay F to the patron who sent me a box. So anyway, yeah, that's where we are in those. And then Toma Fandale, again, these are like, I think these are anomalies personally. When this was 166, I think that's an anomaly. I don't think that's the actual value. So I'm just trying to be fully transparent to you. Super rares. Lots more moved this week on TCG Player. Actually, there was quite a few sold listings on TCG Player for these ones. And what I said last week is that there was a lot offered at higher prices, and people are starting to meet those higher prices. So 15% growth. And a lot of the same for the Rainbow Foil rares. Last week we took these as the this was the listed prices, and these are the listed prices again this week on TCG Player. So sellers are starting to lower their prices because they're not finding buyers. And what's happening with all these is that the set collectors are eventually going to buy one of them, and it will push the price up and until the sellers lower their price. So I think set collectors are trying to finish their sets of foiling, and that's what's kind of those sold listings that do happen. That's what's driving that market. But sellers are starting to lower their prices on those. There's just not enough sold listings to track that, so I'm tracking on this one the listed price of the card. So. And then on the rares, same, again, your average rare price is pretty good for what it is, but it's not much. These are just cards that are listed. No one's actually buying these high, this high, but no one is listing them for lower than that either. So Facebook Marketplace, all those places, I could expect to get better deals than these. So just keep that in mind. Common foils are, again, exact same. Collectors are they're buying 1 or 2 of them, but these are not selling daily at these prices. And again, sellers are starting to lower their prices on them because they aren't getting sold for the prices they're asking. Your commons are all selling about $1 a piece. So let's get to our EV. I want to keep this video short for you. We already talked about it's all the same from unlimited to alpha in terms of what you get. So let's move on and show you the numbers. Your box EV is at $1,564, and compared to last week, this is wrong, $1,564. Compared to last week, it's just a very, very small growth. And keep in mind, we had the, this is with the $1,500 increase. The sold listing of $15,000 for the heart. So keep that in mind. So that's where we are for that. If you take out the legendary or the fabled, so if you're just opening one box, you can expect to get $829. Go watch my one box opening that we did for the patron earlier today. You'll see what happens when you open just one box and you don't hit a legendary, or maybe you don't hit anything. Maybe you don't hit a cold foil at all, which is what happened to me. And then this is without the legendary fabled or cold foil, or commons. So if you're not going to be able to sell the commons, this is more the value that you should be able to get. So remember, this all calculates at 40 boxes. So opening one box creates that gamble. All in all, though, we saw a good 3% increase. I don't know. I mean, again, like that's a lot of that's at the heart. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you are thinking about the collection trackers, if you, oh, sorry, did I even show that up? I'm not sure if I did that or not. That's the numbers. If you are interested in the Patreon, you get access to all this data, and you get collection trackers for it. And then every week I send out the data, and you can use, copy and paste that data into your collection tracker, and then you can see what your value is every week. So I hope you have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. Remember to love them, and remember that this is just a card game. There's more to life. Okay, so it's all good. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for being here. Bye.